Today I've got 3 tips for VR users. Whether you're a new VR user, whether you got one of these bad boys for Christmas, whether you've got the MetaQuest 3, MetaQuest 3S, perhaps you've got the Quest 2, the PlayStation VR 2, or any other device, I've got some tips for you, and it applies to all headsets. It's just some tips for general use. Whether you're a new VR user or whether you're someone who's been using VR for a while, there might be something here that you resonate with, or maybe there's something that you might find useful. So I'm Crackadoon. I've been using VR for almost a decade now. I've used various different headsets. There's some tips I've picked up along the way. I wanted to share 3 key topics with you today, and we'll just talk through them. Let me know whether you agree with them or if you've got any others to add in the comments. So tip number 1, I'm going to call this apps. So we'll talk about apps. You've unboxed this, you've opened your MetaQuest or your PlayStation VR or whatever other headset that you've got, and you want to dive in, right? You want to go into the latest and greatest that VR can offer. You want to go into some almost AAA titles. You bought one of these, came with Batman, you want to dive in, you want to go straight into Batman. If you're a new VR user, that's the last thing you want to do. You're going to probably hit and encounter motion sickness quite hard, particularly with a game like Batman where it's fast paced, you're gliding through the air. It's not going to be a good experience if that's your first interaction in VR. You will encounter motion sickness. There's a very small percentage of people that don't. You do build up VR legs, however. So I would encourage you to search the store and find some games with a little bit more of a entry-level comfort setting. So particularly with the MetaQuest, if you search the MetaQuest store, it will tell you what comfort level the application is. And those can range from intense to moderate, and then I think it's low. I can't remember what the lowest setting is, but you can tell what the comfort setting is, and that's basically how intense the experience is going to be. You might be gliding through the air, you might be teleporting, you might be sitting in a single play space and adjusting with a puzzle or making a painting, for example. So I would encourage you to look at those and start off with experiences where there's little movement, little turning, just to sort of get you used to the virtual world, get your brain used to what's going on, and build up those VR legs. And there's some good titles that you can go out there and have a look at. There's plenty that can cater to new VR users for that reason. And then build yourself up, do an hour session with each of those, and then build yourself up. And then trust me, you'll enjoy Batman a lot more if you're not feeling as dizzy or as queasy whilst you're playing it. Still on the topic of apps, I would encourage you also to look at reviews. So there's a lot of great VR games out there. I obviously cover a lot of them on this channel. But there's also, unfortunately, a lot of not so great titles, and you don't want to be wasting your money. So make sure you check out multiple different reviews from different people. Opinions are subjective. You've got to form your own. If you look at my channel page, you can scroll to the bottom. I've featured a lot of YouTubers there that you can browse through and check out their reviews. I've also done some of my own. I showcase a lot of gameplay. So just take a look, form your own opinion. But if there's a game you're interested in, watch multiple videos of it, and then, form your own opinion. Everyone has their own category of games that they like, and everyone has their own preferences. So make the most of your money by making sure that you buy the right titles. Also, if you're a MetaQuest user, maybe look into MetaQuest Plus. For a new VR starter, you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck looking into those titles. You get 2 free games a month, and then you get access to a rotating library of Quest applications. Moving on to tip 2. Tip 2 is care. So this is care about these puppies, and it's also care about this guy right here. Take care of yourself. So how do we do that? Well, to take care of the MetaQuest or the PlayStation VR or whatever headset that you're using, it's real simple. Don't point the lenses towards direct sunlight. Make sure that you charge it. Make sure that you install all updates as they're released. Make sure that you only clean the lenses with a microfiber cloth. Usually the PlayStation VR 2, the MetaQuest, whatever headset you're using, will come with such a cleaning device. Do not use any sprays, chemicals, or anything abrasive to clean the lenses, because you will take off the protective coating on them, you will kill the lenses, or you will even scratch them. Once you scratch them, that's it. It's a pricey mistake to make, so take care of the lenses. Now, as for caring for the actual headset, the controllers themselves, they're fairly robust. I've found with the PlayStation VR 2 and the MetaQuests, they're fairly robust. They've taken a beating. I've hit wardrobes, I've hit walls, I've hit myself, I've hit controllers against one another, I've hit the controller onto the HMD while it was on my face. I've done it all, and I've never smashed anything yet. Touch wood. I have seen some pictures online of people absolutely destroying theirs. I don't know what they're doing when they're playing games, but for the most part, general wear and tear, you should be okay. Just like I say, make sure that you keep them clean. Don't eat while using them. Don't use any chemicals or anything to clean the lenses. Now, caring for yourself, as I mentioned earlier on with the applications, starting off with a low comfort setting, with the low comfort experiences even, you don't want to get motion sickness. So caring for yourself, you're going to want to make sure that you take it easy. You don't want to be having long VR sessions straight off the bat. You want to be playing little segments, maybe up to an hour each time, or until you feel a bit queasy. If you feel queasy, stop, take an hour break, and then maybe head back in for a little bit. Have a drink of water, keep yourself hydrated. I think ginger is a good help for those who have stomach issues while they're playing. If you feel queasy, ginger tends to be beneficial for those sort of effects. Some people feel benefit when they use a fan. If you have a fan pointed towards you, you can even get, I've got a neck fan that goes around my neck. I don't really suffer motion sickness so much, but I do get hot sometimes, particularly in the summer. If I want to play VR, it's a good idea to keep the airflow going up. Whilst also talking about caring for yourself while using one of these things, the great thing about the MetaQuest and the PlayStation VR 2 is they have Guardians by default. So you set your play space, and the minute you go near the exit of those play spaces, you're going to get the Guardian up, and it'll sort of come up with a mesh frame saying that you're coming out of your play space. That's there for a reason, so you don't hit anything or anyone, you don't injure yourself, and you don't break any furniture. I've seen some people disabling Guardians one way or another. I don't think it's a good idea for that reason. You don't want to be injuring yourself or anyone else, or smashing a TV and then having a hefty price tag on replacing that mistake. So keep the Guardian on, make sure that you set your play space correctly. And one last thing on self-care is, particularly with these things, but it's not isolated to the MetaQuest, on the Horizon app there is an awful lot of scam messages coming out. I've experienced probably almost in the triple digits now, scam messages asking me for my PayPal or for my Cash App, offering me money to help pay bills. Delete those, block those, report those immediately. Don't engage with these people. Most of them will be bots or scammers, so you just want to ignore that. The great thing about the Horizon app is you usually have to approve these kind of messages, but you sometimes will see them come through. So if you see them, delete them. Think nothing of them. No one's going to be giving you free money. So if you're seeing this, if it looks too good to be true, it is. No one's going to give you free money. Okay? So beware of scams. And the last point I wanted to talk about is settings. Don't neglect settings. First thing I say to anyone when I put them onto a VR headset is, the minute you go into a game, do what I do. Go into settings. Settings is your friend. Settings is where you can go to adjust the audio balance. So you can turn the music up, turn the voice chat up if you can't hear your friends, because sometimes, depending on what mic they're using, it could be quieter, it could be fuzzier, so you can alter the audio settings. But the best ones tend to be your VR settings and your comfort settings. So you can go in there and adjust the vignette, which is the comfort black ring that goes around the screen as you're turning or as you're running. So you can put that on, particularly if you're feeling motion sickness quite often, you can put that on, see if that helps. Snap turn versus smooth turn. So snap turn is as you move the stick to turn, it will snap in so many degrees, and you can often adjust how many degrees that snaps by. Smooth turn is more like your PlayStation or Xbox controller, where it will just smoothly turn itself. Now naturally, whilst wearing one of these, you can turn in your physical play space, but just in case you do turn with the controller, often when I'm filming I will turn with the controller. I use smooth turn, but each person has their own preference, and I understand that a lot of people who suffer from motion sickness use snap turn. So that's an option on there, and it's one that I would encourage you to check out. It can completely change your gaming experience whilst wearing one of these, just by going in the settings and turning on snap turn or smooth turn. The other one is headset or hand orientation, and what that is where do you want to turn? Do you want to turn as where your headset's facing, or do you want to turn where your hand is facing? And obviously, again, I think the VR community is pretty split on what they want with this as well, so it's entirely up to you. But mess around with those settings, see what works best for you. But I would always encourage you to go into the settings before you even fire up a new game, before you start the experience. Sometimes you can also choose between teleport and free locomotion as well. So do you want to be able to teleport, or do you want to be able to walk around using the joystick? It's entirely up to you. Not all games have these settings. Some games have some games have all. It's very varied. Unfortunately, there's no gold standard as of yet, but there are a lot of games that put all these settings in. And you can even choose between what your dominant hand is, left and right. So a lot of settings to go in there, and then settings as well, not just in the game but on these things themselves. Particularly if you do, if you want to get into video creation with, let's say, the MetaQuest. If you go into the MetaQuest settings, there's things you can choose in there for video creation. I.e., do you want to record in a square aspect ratio? Do you want to record in landscape? Do you want a specific resolution? Do you want a specific frame rate while you're recording? Do you want to record your left or your right eye? And there's even an audio balance that you can choose, how much of the mic you pick up versus how much of the application. So fiddle around with those settings as well if you want to do some recording. So hopefully those helps. Two sort of bonus tips that I'm just going to add on to the end of this video here. Number one, if you are new to VR, maybe start with mixed reality. Mixed reality basically uses the full color pass-through of your headset and allows you to see the real world around you and sort of overlays virtual or augmented elements onto the screen. So you can sometimes have zombies coming into your living room, you can have things bursting through your walls, you can even just paint in your own studio if you like. There's various different mixed reality apps out there, but the beauty is it eases you in because it's sort of a halfway house, and mixed reality I've found to be a nice entry point for people in VR. And then the last bonus point is, if you're new to VR and you're using MetaQuest, go to sidequestvr.com, follow the instructions on there to install SideQuest. You can even do it in the headset now, but it enables you to try out up-and-coming games that haven't yet hit the MetaQuest store. And there's even some custom homes there, so you can change your home environment. There's The Simpsons, The Matrix, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. There's all sorts on there that you can check out. So sidequestvr.com. If you're not sure what SideQuest is and you want to know a little bit more about it, I do have a video. I'll pin it in the end screen here, and you can check that out and see what it's all about. But it's a great place to go and explore games. A lot of them are free, and there's lots of reviews there as well. Hope you enjoyed the video. What did you think of some of these tips? Are you new to VR? Did you get a brand new VR headset this Christmas? Were any of these tips helpful? What other tips do you have? Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.